So probably the question that I get asked the most by young musicians, and especially those that want to do it professionally, is what is the best part of your job and what's the worst part or the hardest part? For me, the best part is probably pretty obvious. I get to wake up and I get to make music with people that I enjoy being around and creating with pretty much every day. Now, for some people, the hardest part of the job is probably staying away from family or sleeping in a different bed every night or just the general rigors of the road. Since I don't travel all that often, for me, the hardest part is staying inspired. Whether I'm in a studio space creating music or if I'm playing a lot of the same music live with an artist or a friend of mine, it can be really, really difficult to find myself excited to play the instrument. See, when I was a kid, everything was new and everything was fun because I didn't really know anything about the instrument. But now that I've been playing for about 16 years and I've been doing this professionally for almost 10 of those years, it can be really, really difficult to pick up the instrument and feel the same joy or excitement that I did when I first started playing. So in today's video, I'm going to show you how I stay creatively inspired, how I break out of ruts in my playing, and how I got back to finding the joy in the guitar. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe. Let me know any of your tips for staying inspired down in the comments below, and let's jump into the video. So one of my favorite ways to break out of a rut is by playing a guitar in an alternate tuning. Now, an alternate tuning just means any tuning other than E standard or standard tuning. In this case, I actually have this guitar set up with 13 to 60 gauge strings from Stringjoy, but it's in C standard. Now, I usually play 10s on this guitar, so I wanted to have the same sort of tension and feel while being able to play in that lower register, almost like a baritone. I was able to figure this out because I used Stringjoy's tension calculator, so shout out to those guys because it's a really, really great tool. And now I can use all of the shapes that I already know because all of the intervals are tuned the same, they're just lower. So I can play, say, a G chord shape, but instead of a G, it's actually an E flat. And I can play these cool D chord shapes that I use all of the time, but instead of being in D, they're in B flat. And you get a lot of really, really cool shapes that way. So one of the favorite ways to stay inspired is to play in an alternate tuning. Now, if you don't have multiple guitars or you don't want to set up a guitar dedicated to an alternate tuning, then there are still a few others. You can try open E and open G, both with standard gauge strings, and it will work really well. Again, just give it a shot. I think it'll inspire you in really creative ways. So another thing I do to stay creatively inspired is use weird effects. Always make sure to have a few on hand. My main pedal board is only an 18-inch by 13-inch board, so I keep only the pedals that I need for any given gig on that board. But I'm always sure when I'm in the studio to keep stuff like this around. This is the Walrus Audio Congra. It is a filter and an octave fuzz and capable of creating some absolutely weird, nasty sounds. But they're also really cool sounds. Or I might grab something like this. This is an Electro-Harmonix Pulsar. This is obviously the big box version. I think these were made in the mid to late 90s, but this is a really cool pedal that has a really awesome ramping tremolo sound that I find myself loving and using all the time. Sounds pretty synthy, so I'll let you hear what these sound like, but I think regardless of what your effect choice is, you should keep some things around that you don't always use. So another way that I like to stay inspired is by using one of these. This is a looper pedal. Specifically, this is the TC Electronic Ditto, and I think this is the looper that made loopers feasible for everybody to have. I find these all the time used for 40, 50, 60 bucks, even on reverb.com and other places like that. And at that price, I don't think you can afford not to have one. I mean, I use this all the time when teaching. I'll lay down a progression and then show students how I might implement an arpeggio or a lead idea over it. And when I'm just sitting in here having fun, I don't always want to have to record a part into a DAW and have microphones set up and getting tones right and all of that. Sometimes I just want to throw something down really quick and then improvise over it, practice new scales or techniques, etc. So a looper pedal for me is an absolute essential way and one of the cheapest ways to stay inspired. So the next and maybe most obvious way to break out of ruts creatively is by playing different things. Now this seems really simple, but I may do this in a few ways. One, I may learn a new song. Another thing I may do is learn, say, a pentatonic scale shape or something similar that connects in different ways than others. So I may practice the pentatonic scale using it from the lowest possible note on the fretboard to the highest note also in that scale on the fretboard. The third thing, and probably the thing that I do the most though, is learn new chords and implement them into my playing. So I may use something like a minor 9 chord, or I may use something like, say, a 13 chord to creatively add in some flair to songs maybe that I already play, or come up with arrangements or little mini songs based solely around those ideas. So guys, that is all for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know any of your tips for staying creative and breaking out of ruts down in the comments below, and let me know if this video was helpful for you. Please like and subscribe. It really does help this channel out and helps other people to find it. And don't forget to share this video with any of your musician friends that might need some help staying creative as well. But that's all for this video. Again, thank you so much for watching. You can check out a couple of my favorites over here, and I will see you guys in the next one.